Hello again, and welcome to our Sunday news show. We got some new remaster announcements, some game and console sales figure updates, the actor Jean Reno wants back in gaming, and a recap of the DICE Game of the Year awards winners. I am Vberg. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like and subscribe, and after the video, let us know what you thought down in the comments. Without further ado, let's hop into the gaming news from last week. Okay, so first off, there were a ton of new games announced last week, but most of those were at the Sony State of Play event, which we already covered in a separate video. So we're, only going to have a couple news announcements that happen independently of that. If you want to know about the State of Play recap, there was about 25 different games or so covered in that. Check down below in the comments, and we will have a link for our video on it. As for new games that were announced, we do have a action game, the Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Battle Destiny from Bandai Namco is getting a remaster. And this is actually a 2012 Vita game that never left Japan. It was developed by Art Dink, who are mostly known for licensed anime games, but they've also worked as a support studio on things like Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, the Triangle Strategy, and Soul Hackers 2. In the game, you'll create your own character and tweak a customizable mobile suit that recaps the anime Gundam Seed Destiny and, Gundam Seed and Gundam Seed Destiny's storylines. It'll be launching on May 22nd. Bandai Namco also announced that One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 will be getting an enhanced next-gen port. This came out back in 2020 for the PS4, Switch, and Xbox One. If you've played any of the Warriors or Muso games, you're going to be pretty familiar with the gameplay in this. If you haven't played any of those, it's a nice, mindless, fun hack and slash beat 'em up action games. This one just happens to have a licensed skin. I love the Warriors games on occasion. They can be just a ton of fun to just kind of sink yourself into. Lots of characters, simple combat, tons and tons of stuff to unlock. So they announced that One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 has sold 4 million copies across all those platforms, and that in addition to the next-gen version, more DLC will be coming down the line, and players actually get the opportunity to vote on that and tell them what characters you want to see in upcoming DLC. So check the description of the video. We'll have a link to that for you. And this one's story mode will cover the events of the Wano arc, but since this game came out before that arc had finished, it has a separate ending. So yeah, these next-gen versions will be coming later in the year. For anyone out there looking for a physical copy of DreadOut Remastered Collection, VGP is taking pre-orders for a physical release that will be happening on the 27th of February. I do not think this series has seen any physical releases here in the West other than DreadOut 2 on the Switch. So for you horror lovers, make sure you get in on that. Alright, now let's hop into the rumor mill and talk about some rumors that have been floating around. Neverwinter Nights 2 has seen an enhanced edition listed on SteamDB, suggesting the possibility that an enhanced version is finally coming. This game is, of course, the sequel to Neverwinter Nights 1, which was developed by BioWare in 2002, and the second one was developed by Obsidian and released back in 2006. And due to all sorts of various licensing issues and all sorts of stuff, when all the old BioWare and Obsidian titles from that era, like Baldur's Gate 1, Baldur's Gate 2, Neverwinter Nights, Icewind Dale, and Planescape Torment received those enhanced re-releases for PCs and consoles between 2012 and 2018, Neverwinter Nights 2 was mysteriously absent from all that, and it seems like the licensing issues may have finally been resolved on this classic RPG. And I'm guessing it's most likely going to be Beamdog again, who's going to be bringing these enhanced editions. If you're not familiar with them, Beamdog is a studio made up of former BioWare and Obsidian developers, and maybe they're finally going to be bringing this one back to the light of day. Another rumor comes by the way of Liam Croft of Push Square, and Liam has pointed out, this is almost bordering on not a rumor and most likely just a sign of things to come, but yeah, an ESRB rating was found for a PS5 and Xbox Series S and X versions of Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6. So it looks like Capcom is trying to ensure that pretty much the entire series will be playable on current-gen consoles. On some level it's frustrating, seeing re-releases of games and incurring potential charges as a consumer to keep your library functioning on modern consoles, but I'm also happy to see companies putting in the effort to keep their series readily available for us consumers. So it's one of those mixed bag things, but I tend to fall on the side that I think these are good things. I think when games are readily available, it's almost always a net positive. So, because at this point now, with only a couple notable exceptions, almost most of the Resident Evil series is available from Capcom on current gen consoles. So they're doing a much better job than a lot of other publishers out there at making sure one of their biggest franchises is available. So I think this is a good thing. What do you think, though? Let me know. In our last rumor for today, we've got a rumor that comes from the Game Mess podcast, where industry veteran Jeff Grubb stated that Haven Studios, which was founded by Jade Raymond, she worked as a producer on Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 and Watch Dogs. Her studio's upcoming game, Fairgame, and yes, it has the silly $ for an S. But evidently the game has been pushed back to a 2026 release date, according to rumors. And I think this ties into all that the disastrous reception to Concord and the fallout from that. So far this game appears to share, a fair number of similarities with Concord. So there's probably, internally at Sony some serious concerns that maybe another mediocre title was about to be cranked out and it was going to cost them a lot of money. And I'm not sure they want to foot the bill for another Concord level disaster. So I'm guessing that more eyes from Sony Interactive Entertainment are going to want to take a look at this one and make sure they feel it's up to snuff for a general release before it ever sees the light of day. Alright, let's hop into some game sales figure updates. I know what you're thinking. It feels like I talk about this one every week. I don't think we'll be mentioning any updates on this one for a couple months, so entertain me. Might even be closer to the end of the year before we talk about this one again, at least on this program. But Kingdom Come Deliverance II has sold 2 million units now. Really positive reception to this title. We think it's well deserved, so congratulations once more to Warhorse Studios. Alan Wake 2 has hit 2 million units sold and has finally reached profitability, Remedy Entertainment announced in an investor statement. I'm sure they had hoped that this title would have done so much earlier, but given that the game was published by Epic and on PC is still locked away on their platform, Steam is not an option for sales, and so I suspect on the PC side that's really hampered the game's numbers. And it also took them like a year for a physical release for the game, and I feel like the horror crowd, I have a ton of friends who love horror movies, and I feel like the horror crowd in gaming and the horror crowd in movies are very like-minded in that they really are attached to their physical releases. And from my experience in all my years of gaming, the only group that is as attached to their physical releases as the horror crowd is definitely the JRPG crowd. They love their physical copies. So it took them a long time to get a physical out there and really appease their core audience. And, I don't know why it took them so long, but it's still good news for Remedy. Just came later than I'm sure they hoped. So, congratulations to Remedy on a job well done. Dynasty Warriors Origins has sold 1 million units, and I'm sure Koei Tecmo and Omega Force are very pleased with that. It looks like a lot of lessons were learned from the very poor reception to Dynasty Warriors 9, and the team at Omega Force, I think, really took everything all the feedback they got to heart, and it turned around. They made a very good game here in Dynasty Warrior Origins. Congratulations to them. That's really happy news. The PS5 has now sold a confirmed 75 million units, they confirmed in a quarterly report. And in fact, they sold just over 9 million units in Q4 of 2024 alone. And, that's not too shabby for a console that has no games. Kidding aside, I think we're 5 years into the console's life cycle now. I think the PS5 is easily going to hit 100 million in lifetime sales. I think if GTA 6 does make it out in Q3 or Q4 of this year like projected, I think we're going to see a big spike of Xbox Series S and X and PS5 units sold in the same month or two of time frame. So I I just can't imagine they're not gonna eventually coast to 100+ million units in a few more years. So yeah. Okay, and on to more general news. In an investor's report, Shift Up Games, the creators of Stellar Blade, have announced that they will be expanding and hiring 80 new staff members, partly due to the satisfaction they have with the performance of Stellar Blade. Awesome news on their part. All right, this one's just another one of those feel-good stories like we covered last week, talking about good old games and the Digimon fan base. But this week, Good Old Games has announced that the game that's taken off this week and has taken their dream list by storm is the Breath of Fire series, in particular Breath of Fire 4. The other titles are also gaining some traction, but they're just getting tons of stories, comments, likes, shares on their dream list for their revival and preservation program from the Breath of Fire fan base, and we just think that's super awesome. We're big champions of game preservation. We love GOG, so we just wanted to take a moment to share that, and we hope that the Breath of Fire fan base gets those games brought back. VG 24/7's Connor McCarr has reached out to actor Jean Reno of Leon the Professional, Wasabi, and Ronin fame to contact his agency about Onimusha 3. And the actor has stated that he would love the opportunity to reprise his role in Onimusha 3 as the character Jacques Blanc if a remaster for the game comes down the pipeline. And we're definitely hoping that's going to happen. He's a great actor and has been in some great movies, and that's a great game. So hopefully the Onimusha 2 sales are strong, and we see Onimusha 3's remaster come a lot quicker than it took from 1 to 2. Yoshiaki Hirayashi and Hideki Kamiya have confirmed in an interview with IGN that Okami 2 will be a direct continuation of the first game's story. And they also teased that because there's been so many advancements in technology since the original game's PS2 release in 2006, that could allow for a whole host of new and innovative gameplay mechanics. And that's really fun news to hear. Okami is a great game, and it will be really interesting to see what they might do with that in the modern era. So yeah. All right, and back to Remedy Entertainment. In the same aforementioned investor report from earlier, where they talked about the Alan Wake sales, they also confirmed that the Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes were coming along well in full production, and that the sequel to Control would be entering full production by the end of February. So that's really exciting. All three of those are great games, and I can't wait to see remakes and the sequel to Control. Team Ninja has updated the Ninja Gaiden 2 Black Remake in a recent patch to include a New Game Plus mode as well as a photo mode. So now you can take snazzy pictures of decapitated limbs as they fly through the air, with a smile on Ryu's face. The patch will also have some general bug fixes and some small gameplay tweaks, and the ability for you to hide your ranged weapons now as you're playing. So, great game. Okay, and this week I have been told to eschew any of my normal ranting so that we can cover the DICE Game of the Year awards, which I'm sure everyone is relieved to hear. Yeah. So DICE, or the Design, Innovate, Communicate, Entertain Awards, which are arranged by the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences, held their annual summit last week. And this is probably one of the bigger outlets for Game of the Year awards. This is probably, at least within the industry, as big as the Keighley Award show. His has better branding, though, with the name, since he tries to make it sound like he's the only legit one. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. So we're going to run through some of the categories and the winners real quick, as there's a whole lot to cover. So, first up, for Action Game of the Year, the nominees were Batman: Arkham Shadow, Black Myth: Wukong, Call of Duty: Black Ops 6, Stellar Blade, and Helldivers 2. And Helldivers 2 took home the award. For Adventure Game of the Year, the nominees were 1000 Resist, Animal Well, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, and Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. And Dr. Jones took home the award. For Family Game of the Year was a contest between Astrobot, Cat Quest 3, Little Kitty Big City, which is a great name, The Plucky Squire, and Super Mario Jamboree. And Astrobot snagged the award. For Fighting Game of the Year, it was duked out between Blazing Strike, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Mortal Kombat 1 Chaos Reigns, Tekken 8, and Underdogs, with Tekken taking home the trophy. Racing Game of the Year was between F1 24, MotoGP 24, and Night Runners Prologue, with F1 24 taking first place. RPG of the Year was between Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Dragon Age the Veilguard, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, which mini rant DLC should have their own category and not be eligible for main awards like this, regardless of their quality. But that's my 2 cents. Also nominated for RPG of the Year was Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth and Metaphor ReFantasio, with Atlas's new IP Metaphor taking the prize. Sports Game of the Year was between EA Sports College Football 25, EA Sports Football Club 25, MLB The Show 24, and NBA 2K5, with MLB knocking it out of the ballpark. For Strategy/Simulation Game of the Year, the nominees were Balatro, Caves of Qud, I don't know how to pronounce that, Frostpunk 2, Tactical Breach Wizards, and Satisfactory were all nominated, but the very ridiculously addicting Balatro took the award. For Online Game of the Year, the nominees were Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Diablo 4 Vessels of Hatred, Helldivers 2, Marvel Rivals, and Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, with the Fight for Democracy bringing it home with Helldivers 2. And for the big award, their overall Game of the Year was between Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Helldivers 2, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. With the plucky little platformer that could, Astrobot won out in the end. So, what do you think of these awards? Do you feel like DICE got it right? Do you think anyone was royally snubbed? Let us know down in the comments who you thought should have won those categories. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you found any of these stories funny and or interesting, be sure to let us know down in the comments. And as always, from all of us here at Game Conclave, thank you so much for watching.